And here we go. Okay. Going with the first thing that comes to mind is same thing that's probably on everybody's mind is that is Elon Musk. Elon Musk Twitter. I would say Fox Business generally is not that bad. You block me out? Fine, fine. And never mind then. Okay, who's not forcing me to pay anything? Elon Musk will soon hold the keys to Twitter. The company has announced on Monday that it has accepted the Tesla CEO's $44 billion offer to take the company private. That means the world's richest person who has a penchant for theatrics and erratic behavior is about to have the power to reshape discourse on social media network used by more than 200 million people every day. Hmm. How many of those people are bots and fakes? And there is a difference. Bots are bots, but also fakes can really just be like working for people. Anyway, what do you want to do? Loosen up on the current rules in the name of free speech. But really, I think what's on everybody's mind is Trump going to come back? Because at the very least, he was funny on Twitter. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO describes themselves as a free speech absolutist. I personally wouldn't call myself that. I would call myself whatever slightly below that. Anyways, enough about me. And has criticized what he sees as excessive moderation of online platforms. He noted that he nodded to the belief that in his statement announcing the purchase of what he's saying that free speech is the bedrock of a foundational democracy and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital for the future. Yeah, I remember that tweet. Create an edit button so users can edit their tweets. Uh, why was Twitter so against that again? I mean, just have something that says edited, and that should solve everything. Open up Twitter's algorithm to the public. Musk has said that the software that determines what people see and how widely the content spreads on Twitter should be cracked open. He supports placing Twitter's algorithm on GitHub, a site popular with programmers for sharing computer code. Okay, what it sounds like to me is the algorithm, how it works, will be shared with more people. So I guess good. Launch a war on bot armies, combating the proliferation of bots on Twitter, fake accounts that are programmed to respond to tweets on certain topics is another change in Musk's favor. That would eh, that would be great in every platform to tell the truth. Twitter definitely does have a bot problem. It does have a information manipulation problem. What else is there? Hmm. I bet some people are really getting ready to hide a lot of stuff that will be gone unless old Musk works fast. Scrap advertisements. Right now, almost 90% of Twitter's revenue comes from advertising, but the company has struggled to attract advertisers to the platform, which often devolves into political firestorms and ugly online brawls. I mean, I guess really, the only time you really see advertisements if you're just randomly scrolling down. Because it's not like people can click on videos. I mean, people can't click on videos, but it's like there's no way to look at ads on Twitter that's not awkward. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to find advertisements. And the big unknown reinstate Trump. Musk has not the pub, uh, Musk has not publicly said whether or not he will allow former President Trump back on the platform after the company permanently suspended him for that rhetoric that broke the rules. Interview with Fox. Once the deal closes, we don't know the direction where the platform will go, he said. But I guess I'm in a company that 99% of what happens on Twitter won't change. But Trump being back allowed on Twitter, well, would be an interesting thing. Because one might think that will affect politics as a whole. What does Twitter say? What did Elon Musk say here exactly? I won't be going on Twitter much because, yeah, dirty stuff on Twitter. 1.7 million. Well, it is about somebody owning Twitter, so that makes sense. Anyway, free speech is the bedrock foundation of democracy. Twitter, public town hall, yada yada. Also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithm open source, increase trust. All right, all right. So there's some level of smart business thing going on with Mr. Musk. All right. Now where else would a win take me? Something I thought about randomly was, I guess going part of the game was Booth Babes. Anybody remember that? I don't think they're a thing anymore. But yeah, these women that would just stand around and advertise things. I think the last time I seen it, it was the Xbox 360 in Japan. It was just a bunch of Asian women around. That's 2007. I want to win the latest. This thing, 2014. Dang, she got a boot on that. Anyways, somebody's to make a video on them one day. Where did the babes go? Hmm. Where to now? Yeah, I keep forgetting to change my thing on Reddit. I go on Reddit in not too long. What is there to be said about Starfield? Oh yeah, something about being an MMO. How did that get messed up? Jesus. So I guess that mainly comes from old Skullsy there. But I don't think anyone's ever actually had the news thing on it. Well, here's something somebody got said. Probably reported on Skullsy, honestly. Leak: Starfield MMO in development. Yes, of course it's Skullsy. You know the drill. Take it with a grain of salt. Okay, I have pretty interesting video on deck for today. I am fairly certain Bethesda is working on a standalone Starfield MMORPG right now. And the game will be set during the Colony Wars, 20 years before the single player game takes place. I have evidence to back it up. Standalone stuff in more development. Of course, we're still waiting for the release, yada yada. Hmm. I mean, if it's being worked separately and not and just only thing being shared between the groups that working on the standalone and working on the MMO, it's basically lore. That'd be good. However, if the workload is being taken away from the standalone, or the standalone is being changed in a way that would suit the a MMO, yeah, that would be a bit of a negative right there. That being said, um, Elder Scrolls Online is pretty different from Elder Scrolls and doing its own thing, so I expect the best. What else is on the docket? Yeah, something else randomly on my mind. I haven't really been keeping with Dragon Ball Super manga or the new movie aside from the information that the Dragon Ball cast is working on it. But I have been hearing that Raditz could be coming back. Raditz should not be in Dragon Ball Superhero. Raditz returning. Goku finally meets Raditz 20 years later. Breaking news, Raditz confirmed. I think my man probably going a little strong there. Dragon Ball Goku's worst mistake was killing his brother. I mean, not really. He literally gave Raditz a chance to live, and he didn't kill his brother. Piccolo did. Now, maybe not bringing them back. was perhaps not the most brotherly thing not to do. Also, probably never thought about bringing his father back, who's apparently a good guy, but you know, Saiyans they live in the moment. That's who they are. The true source of Goku power could change Dragon Ball forever. It's the power of love and friendship. Hey, look, there's me. Let's learn a little bit more about Starfield. What are people's overall thoughts? This is everything we know about Starfield by this guy. What do we have recently? Hmm. What lore do we have on this game already? Oh yes, Starfield comes out in late November. I mean, late at the end of the year. Hmm. What else? When does Digimon survive? Digimon Survive is July, so there's nowhere near there. Nowhere near there. Its only competition may be. I don't know if God of War has a release date currently. I think God of War is. I have no idea actually, but probably later this year. But his biggest competition may be that Harry Potter game. 'Cause that's coming out sometime at the end of the year. Starfield now has a stream page. No real description, however. The, it's been so long that I almost forgot. It does have an official trailer. There is actually a plethora of pretty nice concept art, and I have to say, as somebody that has a YouTube channel, I have grown to appreciate concept art tremendously. It oddly helps a lot with lore and just having something in the background to show and represent things. So yes, thank you for the background art. Now, will we really be able to will we really be able to go into all these buildings? Look at these birds for scale. White birds for scale, my favorite thing. Anyways, we'll really be able to go into all these buildings. Technically, I don't see any door. Uh, or, or will it be more like Fallout than Elder Scrolls, where some buildings are closed off? But you explained those closed off building in Fallout because, like I say, nobody, excuse me, because nobody's in them. The world destroyed. But for a sci-fi world, it's a bit not a big excuse for that. At least for a Bethesda game. I know Rockstar, like 99% of their buildings you can't enter. Even though there's been a fruitful fan hope for the longest time. This reminds me of like I think a planet. This reminds me of the planet on Guardians of the Galaxy. This this reminds me of the ships on what's that underwater game called? Subnautica. It's a very Subnautica looking ship. He has a gun. What would be the common type of enemy? I mean, if you're going from planet to planet, enemies should be pretty different. But they will of course have to share the same type of variety. Same type of movesets and such. Or maybe that would just be the pirates. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pirate style enemies. This is beautiful. This is like a something you see in a raggedy part of Mass Effect. Not a bustling city, but a city you want to stay away from. People have on normal clothes. Again, just more lovely space art. Well, NASA art, as they say. I bet this place will be very noisy. Okay, we're seeing ships, but didn't haven't. Aside from my friend, I don't think we've been seeing any robots. There should logically be robots, in my opinion. Minutes. What should it have besides robots? I'm also wondering if it would have a type of magic system. I mean, in a sense, it would have to because RPG, but I mean more something like the Force. Next question: not many people are really asking. Would it be something like the Shout? Anyways, Starfield has exploration at heart. Well, it's a Bethesda game. That is the thing they do best. That in creating, interactive worlds and such. What is thought I would say. We always we always have the step out. Oh yes, the classic step out moment. Hmm. It wasn't much of a step out moment in Skyrim, I have to be honest, because you were already out in the beginning. Yeah, you already are in the beginning of Skyrim, so you get a sense of the world. Probably would have been better if you started Skyrim in chains, in a type of fortress. But then again, the Skyrim intro is iconic, so what do I know? But the idea that they have been presenting is step out one, stepping out to the world, the planet you're on, step out two, step out into space. And of course, ever since New Vegas, factions have been locked down. Though to be fair, like technically you can say factions have been around since probably forever. You kind of like the Thieves Guild and such. But the factions will, of course, be more against each other. That's probably the big difference here. Between the olden days, space is a dangerous place. So, it's no surprise that the settlement system will have any number of groups angling to meet their own ends. We don't know anything about Starfield's main story yet, but there are definitely going to be factions at play. We don't know much yet, but we have heard the names and brief descriptions of a few groups that may meet or hear about along the way. United Colonies, the Future Space Republic Idolize, Free Star, Collective, Space Western Fancy, people out there on the frontier. Okay, so that's going to be Han Solo people, which was mentioned. The Raijin Industries, Megacorp, one of the possible starting factions. So basically, Elon Musk, let's go with that. Crimson Fleet, a group of pirates that you can join or betray. Wait, does betray mean that we'll start with from the beginning? No, that's probably just a sort of words they decided to use for this article. House Varan, a group of fanatical religious zealots. Will they have superpowers? And what religion will be in the game? You also have your friendly neighborhood robot compam robot companion, Vasco. If the companion system is like Fallout 4's but better, I'd be pretty satisfied. And I guess they're pretty much saying, uh, like, well, not like, a better version of Morrowind's, no, Oblivion's talking system, persuasion. More than double the lines of Skyrim's dialogue. That's to be expected. I mean, the Skyrim locations were pretty small, all things considered, and we're going to whole planets, so yeah, dialogue needs to be pretty banging. To take some other hardcore RPGs, yeah, I heard that. Okay, there's a lot here, but I think I'll go ahead and actually start watching some videos. I never heard of this guy, I don't think.
We're asking the big questions. Why are we all here? Where is it leading? And what's next for humanity? These were the questions that our Lord and Savior, Todd Howard, left us with at the end of episode 2 of Into the Starfield. But the biggest question of all
Mass Effect
really
fan,
has
huh?
to be, what the hell is Starfield? Well, today I'm going to break down everything.
Well, since he does Mass Effect videos, either he thought one, the Mass Effect fans might be interested in this, or simply people that are interested in space in general might be attracted to a game like this.
That we currently
Either way, it's
know
fantastic.
about Bethesda's next upcoming game. And for any of you who are new here, how's it going? Mr. Holton here. And with that out of the way, let's dive right in.
Since I'm streaming
So
this thing, I'm out
Starfield
here
is the
like.
next game from Bethesda Game Studios, which is the studio most famously known for franchises like the Fallout series, and especially the Elder Scrolls,
Stop right there, criminal scum!
with titles such as
Oh,
Skyrim, which
classic
still
Oblivion.
holds up as the greatest open world fantasy experience in gaming, even to this day. But Starfield is not a fantasy game. Neither is it a game that will be set
Just hit me, man. Skyrim is a old ass game. Oh, it's been around for so long.
on a post-apocalyptic Earth. Instead, Bethesda is taking their first real step into the world of space exploration, as Starfield is set 300 years into the future, when humanity has already left Earth, in an age where we can travel to different planets and even other solar systems. Bethesda has stated that Starfield is like a Skyrim in space, combined with a word they call NASA punk, meaning that the design of the technology we will see in the game is reminiscent of that of NASA space gear, giving Starfield a very grounded and somewhat realistic view on what future space exploration could look like.
So I have to imagine that if you have super advanced spaceships that can just go FTL, it probably wouldn't look like much we've seen at NASA. But like I say, going with the NASA punk thing, well, it means they're going for a type of aesthetic. And I appreciate a nailed down aesthetic. It keeps everything from looking like sci-fi puke.
From what we've seen in concept art, this type of look will mainly be related to the group known as Constellation, which,
Oh,
according
so
to
it's
Bethesda,
mostly for that group? Okay.
is the last group of space explorers in the universe of Starfield. Meaning that we'll mostly be traveling around in our NASA Punk spaceship, but we're probably going to see
What kind of references are we going to get here? We would definitely get some Star Trek references. I imagine Star Wars. What else? I guess you got Deep Space Nine, Stargate. I think all of them are going to get a few references. Just Star Trek and maybe Star Wars more.
very different environments, technology, and perhaps even life forms other than humans as the game progresses, as we can see from concept art for the game. Supposedly, the story revolves around us discovering
Let's look at that ugly ass thing again. Now that's ugly MF. Has something on this. What is this? How does this creature eat?
art for the game. Supposedly, the story revolves around us discovering something important that could propel humanity forward. Where have we heard that before? What that exactly is remains to be seen, as more of the story hasn't been revealed yet. But what we do know is that the game is filled to the brim with factions. There is the United Colonies, which is the largest and most powerful faction in Starfield, reminiscent of the UN or United Nations of today, meaning that they're the main governance for humanity, or so it seems. There is the Freestar Collective, who were in conflict with the United Colonies in what was called the Colony Wars, until they later on brokered a fragile peace. Then we have the Ryujin Industries that represents the corporate world of Starfield, similar to corporations like Arasaka in Cyberpunk 20.
Now, while we get the base minimum, I do hope the lore expands a whole lot more than 4 factions encompassing the entire solar system or galaxy or whatever.
77. Then we have the Crimson Fleet, which seems to be the main pirate faction, and a religious faction filled with fanatics called the House Varun. Each of these factions will have their own planets or even systems where their headquarters are located in. One of these locations being New Atlantis, which is the capital city for the United Colonies, while the capital of the Freestar Collective is called Aquila, where we can see a clear difference.
It also just hit me that we're definitely going to be seeing a mostly human civilizations.
Difference in design philosophy. Now we don't really know about
But I guess that's fine. That's kind of how Star Wars works.
any characters just yet, except for this guy. This is Vasco, who will be one of the available companions that you can explore the universe with. Vasco is equipped with defensive capabilities if need arises, but this being a Bethesda game, he'll probably mainly be used as a pack mule, as it's mentioned that he has a pretty robust payload system, aka a large inventory. So he's basically going to be like a metallic version of Dogmeat from Fallout 4. Now if we take a look at the ship from the trailer, we can see that it's out.
Hope you can upgrade him. And his body honestly looks like a little bit like the holder for the power armor in Fallout 4.
Outfitted with all kinds of bits and bobs. There's even a medkit on the wall, and the individual in the trailer leaves a rifle on what looks like a workshop table, suggesting that we'll run into hostile situations quite often. Now this being an RPG, the individual in question is most definitely just one variation of how our character can look, since the game will also feature a robust character creation system, just like we've seen in every other Bethesda title. Oh, and speaking of it being an RPG, Bethesda has stated that they want to go back to the roots of old school RPGs, at least when it comes to growing stronger, with a lot of stat building and the like, making this seem like a hardcore RPG fan's wet dream. The ship's cockpit also gets briefly shown, and it looks like it could be outfitted with a weapon system, which could suggest that we'll be seeing ship-to-ship combat. This isn't confirmed, however, so have that in mind. Now, while it admittedly is a bit
Hopefully at the very least they start showing some ship combat in like a trailer pretty soon.
of a bummer that we haven't seen any real details on the main characters yet, it's pretty safe to say that there is going to be an absolutely massive cast. Well, how so? Well, it's been revealed that Starfield has over 150,000 recorded lines of dialogue. Compare that to, say, Skyrim, which had about 60,000 spoken lines, or heck, let's look at a game series that's known for its hefty dialogue, Mass Effect. Together, the Mass Effect trilogy boasted around 85,000 lines. Starfield almost
That's like surprising. I guess you account for the fact that there's not a lot of dialogue sections for every Mass Effect character. But still, that's actually a
has
lot less than I
twice
would
the
think.
amount of dialogue crammed into one game, compared to an entire trilogy, which is also set in the sci-fi genre. This, of course, suggests that Starfield will be absolutely monstrous in size. The official poster for Starfield also hints at least 4 individuals that will be important to the story. And we can also see the aforementioned companion, Vasco. And looking even closer at the poster, we can see what looks like a mysterious golden structure that rises above a planet. Pieces of concept art has already shown us that we'll be finding things that aren't made by humans, hinting at this game possibly introducing a sort of first contact situation with alien life. Also, the main trailer for Starfield is narrated by a mysterious female voice, wherein she mentions the scope of the universe.
They say, the wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it.
Now, if we take her dialogue literally, this seems to suggest that the game world will be much bigger than we could ever expect. But if we're gonna be realistic here, it's probably just for world building reasons and setting the tone for the game. Speaking of the size of the game, we haven't gotten an official look at the map yet, but there has been speculation that a background image which gets frequently used in promotional material could be an actual tease for the map itself. The dots visible here could then be possible explorable planets or locations. But I'd take this with a tiny pinch of salt, because making that many explorable worlds by hand just seems too good to be true. In other words, I would temper my expectations and expect a handful of worlds and not the hundreds of worlds that this picture would imply.
There's absolutely not going to be hundreds of worlds. That's going way down the path of what is that game? Not Star Citizen. No Man's Sky. That's more of that genre. Wait, am I showing up? There I go.
Still, Starfield has been in active development since the release of Fallout 4, which launched in 2015, putting its release date only 1 day from exactly 7 years since they started actively working on it. So considering that it's been in active development for such a long time, we could at least expect Starfield to be the biggest game Bethesda has ever made, and possibly the biggest non-procedural game overall since the last few years. Now, since the scope of the game seems so huge, that will undoubtedly also introduce problems that we've come to expect from AAA games nowadays. So a mountain of bugs are almost guaranteed to come with the game.
16 times the detail.
And I'm not saying that to be mean, it's just how Bethesda usually does it. Starfield will also be the first game to use the new Creation Engine 2.0. Which keeps its namesake of the old creation engine that Bethesda used for Skyrim, Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. This could in essence mean even more bugs, but as it seems like the 2.0 version is almost an entirely different engine altogether, this could also mean that the game will have less bugs than Bethesda games usually has. Starfield will release on the Xbox Series X and PC on the 11th of November 2022. Unless Bethesda decides to delay it, which I doubt that they will at this point. Alright, so
Yes, going by conversation, I doubt we were seeing any delays for Starfield. What other... I guess that's what I'm just going to do, just talk about RPGs. That is what I'm currently playing right now, and what I generally look for in video games, the next big RPGs. For a second, just looks. Is Tiny Tina games out already? I hope Digimon survives good. What have happened to that spiritual successor to the Shodoken games? How the heck did I spell Shodoken? Oh, oh boy. Okay, Kaido, I really messed that up. Let me see. Try this again. Maybe just put PS2 RPG series. Eventually, I think I'll come across it. Never played Xenosaga. What the heck profile games? What are those? Was that military games called? That's Valkyria Chronicles. Here we go, Shodoken. I never played Shodoken 3, though I heard good things. Here we go, yes, this is the Shodoken successor. Oh wow, it's pretty. Fine, whatever. That looks really pretty. That means a side scroller though? Publisher Publisher 505 Games and developer Rabbit Bear Studios and Natsuma Arata announced a release date for the upcoming game, Eiluden Chronicle Rising. If you're an RPG fan, it's probably made your ears perk up a bit. I haven't been keeping track, so not really. You might remember the Kickstarter, so that's kind of what we're dealing with this, huh? This game was pitched as a successor to Konami's Oh. Yeah, I guess that's why we're never really going to see that game. It's a Konami property. R.I.P. It's different. Oh, it's a side-scrolling game. I feel like I was thinking of another game, though. Or maybe not. Though I guess I can at least say the game looks pretty. What happened to the Dark Cloud series? Now that I think about it. Why is there no Dark Cloud 3? No, the games are obviously related. A lot of the items. Hmm. So yeah, that's just not happening anytime soon. What is level 5 even doing these days? Dim and Tyra Ace. What happened to those guys? Did trying to make games for Xbox really hurt them that much? We'll see. What are the latest stuff? None of this looks familiar to me. So they've been working on smaller things, I guess. Oh, they made no. I didn't know they made White Knight Chronicles. True Fantasy on Live cancel. Okay, well, I take looking at this as a sign that yeah, they're probably not going to make any classic games for a while. R.I.P. Did they make Nino Kuni? Well, forget everything I said. They made the Ni no Kuni game. So yeah, they're still pretty much in business. So ignore little old me. Well, if they can do that, they can make Dark Cloud 2. Dark Cloud 3, which I should say. Well, how about old Tyra Ace? Or is it Tri-Ace? Star Ocean The Divine Force? Is that a game that's out now? Star Ocean First Departure. That was in 2009. Oh, that was PSP. It released for Microsoft Windows and yada yada yada. Okay, that is it stopped at 2022. I definitely don't make videos or streams shorter than an hour. Thanks for the like, whoever that is. But yeah, that's not telling us anything. Another company that's a shadow of what they used to be. At least the Tales games are Tales series is at least the Tales series is doing strong. And there's always some sort of Cthulhu-based RPG something coming along the lines, coming along the pipe. When is Avowed coming out, by the way? No, the release date for Avowed is still 2020? 2022? There's no way. I generally can't believe that. Is the release date from purely from a leak, in which case that makes sense. That means the game will not be out for a couple of I won't say a couple of years, but at least next year. Why in the world would it come out this year? It's too stacked. The Avowed will most likely release quarter one 2020. That makes a heck of a lot more sense. They're coming out this year. Coming out this year would just be a bad idea. Speaking, when is their other game coming out? What was that other game? Another sort of planet space game that people just kind of forgot about? Um, Let me just type in Obsidian. Neverwinter Nights. What the heck was that game again? It's a game I heard about but never played. Oh, some type of MMO Baldur's Gate type thing. Alright, fair enough. Something that just came to mind is G4. How's G4 doing? This? What is this? G4 is still around, despite itself. Even though I think that new guy, the New Day guy moved on. Anyways, The Outer Worlds 2, and it has no release date. And from the sound of this trailer, I'm going to say probably Outer Worlds 2 2024. 2023, 2024. That's my hot take. No, they had a couple of canceled games, but that was a while ago. Maybe one day I should just scroll along my YouTube and see where it takes me. But nah, I think the next stream will be very planned out. But this is a nice taste of random. I got an hour in. Actually, no. 58 minutes, not an hour. What else? Whatever it is, it has to be an RPG. What do we know about Kingdom Hearts 4? So they already joined the Versus connections, huh? What do you want to bring back? My guy? Oh yes, that thing. I completely forgot about it.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is wild, man, especially when you compare it to Kingdom Hearts 1 and the gameplay formula that was used. Square Enix...
Kingdom Hearts 2 was a pretty big transformation. Space battles, actually not what I thought I was going to. Lore and feats, another time, another time. Though I probably will one day go ahead and read this whole thread. But for now, I'm calling it a night. My next one, what will my next stream be about? Either the Zeus video thing finally, not video, the stream be about either Greek mythology or